Welcome to Coaching Changes Lives. So glad you can join us in this episode. Now, today we're going to look at pricing your coaching packages. Now, what does it involve? What does it entail? What is the market type? How do we price it? What are the typical market rates? And how do we move forward in designing something that really matters to our clients? Now, if you're new to our channel, do remember to hit the subscribe button and notification bell to stay tuned to the latest videos that we have for you. Now, in Coaching Changes Lives, we talk about the skills as a coach, the state of the coach, and as well as how to scale your coaching practice. So if you'd like to hear more of such videos, do remember to stay tuned to all the videos that we have, and do remember to check out all the other videos as well in our playlist, because we come to you every single week with brand new fresh videos for you to really empower you and encourage you in the whole coaching journey. We know that coaching journey, it's more than just the coaching skills. You have your coaching business that we need to build up as well. So we're going to create a whole series of videos on how to build your coaching business. Now, are you ready for this? In today's episode, we're going to look at just one thing, which is how do we price our coaching package? What exactly is the clients looking for, and how do we maneuver that? So I'm going to give you some strategies to think about how you price a package, and hopefully at the end of this video, you're able to get a sense of what really the clients are looking for, and how do you actually navigate through this complexity known as the business of coaching. Now, many people ask me, how do we actually build the packages of our coaching packages? Should we price it by the hour? Should we price it by the package? Should we price it by this? Should we price it by that? How do we price it? Should I price it by charging the sessions? Or do I go by the market price? Or do I go by this or go by that? Now, the first thing I will ask is this: what is it that you're offering to the market? Now, remember, this is the economy, meaning to say that if you're trying to sell something to the economy, there must be a buyer and a seller. So if I'm trying to sell something, but I don't see a potential market for it, right? It's going to be very hard to sell. Now, one of the challenge people always come to me, and especially coaches, say, "Hey, can I be an atomic coach? Can I sell atomic coaching?" And then I said, okay, it sounds fanciful. Tell me more, what's atomic coaching? Well, I'm able to coach people through atomic healing, blah, 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 and I can do this thing and do that thing. I said, okay, that sounds quite interesting. So I said, who are your target audience? Well, and at the point of time, they say, oh, everyone, because everyone means that atomic coaching. I said, okay. Now, if I hear a response like this, I know automatically that the person have probably no idea how to actually go about pricing their coaching package, have no idea who their target audience is. Because we got to first be very specific with our target audience and know the market that we're in. If we don't know the pond that we're in, we don't know the oceans that we're in, then we'll end up pricing out of the range of the ocean, pricing out of the range of the pond, and we end up not catching any fish at all. So think about this: if you're going for fishing and you bring the wrong rod, you bring the wrong bait, no matter how hard you try, you may be an expert in the rods, you may be an expert in the bait, but no matter how much you try, because you're in the wrong pond, you're not going to catch any fish, right? So for us to be able to catch our clients, to catch a fish, you must know this. The fundamental thing about coaching is this: clients are not acquired, clients are created. I say again, clients are not acquired, clients are created. What do I mean by that? You see, we are in an environment, in a generation where coaching is picking up its pace. Now, 5 years from now, if I do another video on this, I may change because the economies have changed. The way people have consumed coaching has changed fundamentally. But today, we're seeing an evolution of the coaching, or what I call coaching revolution. This coaching revolution, it's when people are getting more and more aware about coaching is. But the sad truth is this: there are many fake coaches out there. Just like there's many genuine coaches out there. So, but does the fake coaches stop us from actually becoming a powerful, genuine coach, an authentic coach, authentic, real coach to really help people in our lives? Now, too often I've seen this, right? How to be a 5-figure coach, how to be a 6-figure coach, all over the internet, right? Say, oh, if you sign up for if you sign up for this funnels, you sign up for this marketing thing, you sign up for that thing, you will be a very successful coach. Now, and no wonder many coaches get drawn into each one of them. How to generate 500 leads, how to generate this as in your coaching practice. No wonder coaches get so confused, and no wonder coaches get so stressed out. The first thing for you to realize is that coaching business is a completely different business than the other businesses that you've seen. It's not a product that you're selling. It's also, I would challenge also, what is it, a service you're selling? Coaching is a people business. The people, it's actually, or the person is actually transacting with you. What I call a transactional currency. There is a transactional currency that's happening in the coaching journey. Sometimes what we call a value of transaction. So what are you actually bringing to the table that the client is receiving? And what is it that you're trying to create with the client? Now, as coaches, our most masterful skill, our most precise skill, it's our ability to use words to pierce deep into the situation to help the client find a clarity and alignment towards the outcome that they want to achieve. And that is our skills. So the more precise you are, the more powerful you are at coaching someone, that is how much impact you can create in the person's world. So, which means to say that in the coaching, the conversation is the conduit by which you produce the results for the client. So how then do we create clients? Because you see, the reality is this: nobody needs coaching, but people want coaching. Nobody needs a expert coach for swimming, because all of us know how to swim. If you really know how to swim, right? If you already know the strokes of swimming, you're not going to hire a swimming coach. You may hire them if you're starting off to swim. But after you get a certain basal state, you may say, okay, I'm comfortable at where I am, so I don't need that. So many people, when they get a coach, the mentality is this: they're either looking for greater performance or they're looking to overcome certain problem that they're facing. If they find that they have no challenges, if they find they have no need to grow, then there's really hardly any motivation for them to actually get a coach. So for people who are high performers, who wants more performance in their life, in their business, they will get a coach. Or people who are stuck in the miry clay and they want to get out of it, they will get a coach as well. So your clients, the way we define our clients is going to be important. And because the clients are created in the conversation, so the clients must be able to feel that, hey, when I talk to this coach, there's something inspiring about the coach. There's something about this coach that leaves me thinking like nobody's ever done before. And I want to work with that person. So that's going to be an important process, right? First, the creation process. So you are going to have a conversation with the clients first in a deep manner so that the clients feel that, hey, I'm getting new insights that I never thought before. This coach is producing new ways of thinking that I've never thought before, because all this while I've been thinking like that. But if I can have more conversations as such, I think my life will be better. If I can have more conversations as such, I think I would know how to achieve higher performance in my life. I know how to overcome certain things. I know how to get out of this clay and get greater performance. Now, that's really what coaching is to help the client to experience a brand new way of looking at their world. Now, so the next step is this: how then do we now position the client to say that this is worth the whole coaching session, this is worth the amount of money, the time you spend. Now remember this: when a client comes to you, even if your coaching is free and pro bono, the client has invested a time and their energy and their mental focus with you, and that is an investment. There's a transaction going on in the coaching journey. These two transactions are intangible, but there's a currency conversion that's happening. So as a coach, we need to be masterful at converting that from a intangible transaction to something that's tangible, something that the clients can feel and know its application in the real world. So for example, when you help the person get clarity and alignment, how does that translate into dollars and cents? How does that translate into better business performance, better relationship, better life performance, better problems solutioning? How does that translate that? And what does that impact immediately to that bottom line for the person? So I give you an example. If right now you're suffering from a relationship issue, it's breaking down. The children are upset with the parents because of the relationship the parents are having, and if you stay the same way, what would it mean? Okay, it would mean that the children will be growing up with conflicts at home all the time, and what would that translate? What would translate that in the future, that when they have partners, they will find a struggle as well, because they begin to see what they don't want in the parents. Now, how do you translate that in dollars and cents? Well, for one, is that you don't have happiness and joy at home. So you may gain all the material richness, but you lose the very spirit and the soul of what it means to be human. That cannot be exchanged in dollars and cents, but you can place a perceived value price tag on it. So let's take a look at what the market forces that entail in your decision making for your audience. Number one, it's where are you operating? Where are you operating? If I'm operating in America, my pricing will be a bit different. If I'm operating in Asia, my pricing will be different. If I'm operating in South America, my pricing will be different. If I'm operating in Africa, my pricing will be different. If I'm operating in Middle East, it'll be different. So where are you operating locally first? Now, don't think so much about thinking, oh, I'm an international coach. Now, many beginning coaches or beginner coaches or coaches who are just starting off in their first or second year, they say, oh, I'm going to be an international coach. Yes, before you become an international coach, first understand your audience, understand the local audience. International audience are a very different species as compared to the local audience, and it's more complex. So first identify your local pool of audience. Why do I say start with local before going to global? Well, for one, is that you need to have a strong local pool because you need to have some evidence that what you're doing with your clients is actually working for them. And the easiest thing to do is to look at the current pond of fishes that you have at your door, which is your local market. Now that doesn't mean that you're not able to do the global market. You can, but the global market entails a whole nother layer of complexity because now you have different cultures, you have different approaches, you have different needs globally. Okay, so first identify your local pond. What is it in the local context, right? What are the prices that people usually pay for things, right? What are the exchange rates like? What are the payment plans like? You see, for example, in Asia, different parts of Asia, the different price point. Here in Singapore, I may be able to charge something like, for example, our program's called Mastering Coaching. We price it at $3,000 to $4,000 or $5,000, but in other parts of the world, we have to reduce the price when we're running in the local country because the locals don't have that purchasing power as what we have here. So I need to be mindful that in different countries, I need to adjust the price point to address to the local needs. So that's one. Okay, so identify what is the local market and what is the market rate for a transaction of things. For example, you can look at corresponding things like how much do psychologists charge, how much do counselors charge, how much do mentors charge, how much do consultants charge in your local market. Now, I would say this: if you say, "Oh, how do I find that out?" Well, a simple way is to look at some of the business statistics in the local country. There will always be business statistics in the local country. Now, typically, as a coach, we tend to see coaches charging anywhere from $50 an hour, $100 an hour, $200 an hour, $500 an hour, $1,000 an hour, $2,000, $5,000 an hour, $10,000 an hour, depending on the context of the local market. Okay, so now if today you see someone online say, "Hey, I closed my 5-figure client, 6-figure client." Now, my question to you is this: don't be overjoyed. Don't rush into it and say, "Oh no, that person was able to close 5-figure. Why can't I close 5-figure?" Now you need to understand that every one of us are in different markets. What is a 5-figure to that person? Okay, in the market, it's an equivalent to a 3-figure in your market because the purchasing power is different. So don't look at the 5-figure and say, "Wow, that's great." Right? It might be in that particular context, in the local context, that 4 or 5 figures, it's something that's quite normal in terms of the exchange of value. Whereas in your local country, 3 to 4 figures may be a norm. So don't go by what you see around the internet and what you see around YouTube as well. So that's why one of the reasons why we create this channel is to bring the truth back into coaching, to bring the truth back into what coaching really is, and to help people see that, hey, coaching is not it's not something like rocket science, and coaching is not what the fake coaches are telling you out there. But really, coaching, there's an artistry and there's a science to it. And I want to break you down so that you can see clearer for yourself as you begin your coaching journey. So that's one. So identify the local market. What does it entail? What does it look like? The next thing you want to look at is also when you think about the sessions you have built for your clients. I often say this: you can do a one session with your client, or you can do multiple sessions. And how long is a session? Well, a session really depends on you. Some of us may prefer a 30-minute session. I know some coaches who prefer a 15-minute session. I know some coaches who prefer a 2-hour session. What is a time frame that works best for you? If you're starting off as a coaching journey, well, don't limit yourself. Try out. Try a 2-hour session, try a 1-hour session. Find something that resonates best with your approach to coaching. Now, all the coaches who attend our program in Mastering Coaching, in Team Performance Coaching, in our Exponential Coaching program, I teach them one thing, right? I tell them, I'm not going to give you a particular model to follow. Why? Because we're not coaches of models. You will have your own approach. You will have your own unique personality and style in your coaching journey. So use that to your advantage. Use that to help and serve you. Your approach will resonate best with your audience. My approach will resonate best with my audience. So your approach will resonate best with your audience. Now, what happens if you do not know what approach? As a starting off, try, watch, learn, experience, read. Be curious, experiment different approach. See what approaches best work for you. Maybe if you feel that, okay, I need to structure things down for them in session 1, we're going to explore session 2, what are you going to explore? Okay, that's one approach. But I will encourage you to think about this. It's really about the client. What kind of experience you want to create for the client? What kind of creation that you want to create, co-create with the client? Remember, coaching is not me and me only and not the client. Coaching is both of us in a co-creative process, right? In a co-creative process to create something wonderful together. So that's what coaching really is. Now, so once you've done that, now you're able then to decide for yourself how long the session is. And you can do multiple sessions in one session. So I encourage, typically for me, when I tell coaches, I will encourage you to have multiple sessions with a client. Don't limit to one session. Because oftentimes, a particular situation a client is facing may take multiple sessions to unravel. See, transformation may happen in one session, but transformation happening in one session is atypical. It's not the case for all clients. Transformation is a gradual process. And transformation will happen, but it's a gradual process. It's not something that happens overnight. It may happen overnight, but it's not the case for all the time. I had worked with clients before. In 5 minutes, they had transformation. I've worked with clients before. It takes a few months for them to see the transformation. Why? It has nothing to do with my lack of precision or not, but it's to realize that this one thing is true, that transformation, it's nothing to do with you. It's everything to do with us trusting the process. In the moment, in the season, the transformation will happen for the client. All we got to do is to bring the client through masterfully and help them to work out the areas of their challenge that they're facing. So that's what we're going to do in the whole coaching process, okay? Now, the next step for us to do is then realizing what is the price point that we're going to tag to that session. So you can do a few things. One, you can do a reverse pricing. For example, you begin first by understanding how much do you want to make per year. Start there. If you do not know how to start, think about how much do you want to make per year. Let's say you want to make, if you want to make $50,000 a year. Okay, so you work back in reverse. How much would that look like per month? How much would that look like per session? How many clients would you want to handle? So if you have 50,000 and you want to handle 10 clients, so per client it's 5,000. Is it possible to charge 5,000 for 10 sessions? So per session is about $50. Yeah. So you work like this in reverse first. How much do you want to make at the end of the year? And go back in reverse. And oftentimes this will make easier sense for most coaches to start off with. Another approach is to decide for yourself what is a price point that is on average that's palatable to people. Now for me, I charge anywhere from $1,000, $5,000 an hour or more, depending on the clientele that I'm serving and depending on the complexity of the issues. Right. So how do I charge that? How do I come to that? How do I come to that figure? Well, I come to that figure in a few different ways. I like to work with a small handful group of coaches. Individual coaches, I work with a very small group, but I may work with different groups of coaches as well in team coaching, because team coaching, I'm able then to price and allow the price point to go a bit lower, so it's more affordable to most people. But then my time in terms of exchange of the 1 hour, I'm able to now serve more people. So you can consider one-on-one or team. In a team, people can pay much lower rate, and you can have more people they can impact, or you can have a combination of two. So really depending on how you want to serve and what you want to design for your own coaching package and whether it makes sense for you. And some people may say, oh, how big a team should I go for? Well, I'll recommend about 10 or 8 or 6. I find that when you go in a team of more than 6 or 7 or 8, that tends to be ineffective. If I have a whole group of 10 different people in my clientele and in a team, I'm not able to give them individual attention in the team, in the 1 hour. Time will fly, because imagine this, in 1 hour, if I have 10 people, each person, you probably have about a few minutes. So in terms of the value, the perceived value, it's not as strong as compared to if I have 4 or 5 people in a team and have 1 hour with them. The perceived interaction will be much higher. So remember, when you design the team, when you design the packages, you got to bear in mind the client. What kind of experience you want to leave the client? I can also have a team of 100 coaches, right, 100 clients all together, and I can make more money from there. But you see, I got to consider, if I do that, would I be breaking the sense of what the client is going to experience? Will I be sabotaging the experience for something else? And that's going to be critical for me as well. So that's something for us to consider. Then the next thing that we're going to look at as well is how then do we create the packages? Do we create by the session? Do we sell by the packages? Do we sell by different things? Now, if you are a coach, first define your niche for yourself. So what is your niche? Your niche is a very simple thing. The niche is about thinking about what is it that you want to be known for. What is it you want to be known for? So think about this. Celebrities are known for something. Michael Jordan is known for basketball. Stephen Curry is known for his three-pointer. People like Michael Schumacher is known for the F1 driving. So what do you want to be known for? And think about that. There's no right and wrong niches, but a niche that best represents who you are. And if you find that there's a balance between, oh, but I want to go for this niche, but I'm not able, because this niche, there don't seem to be a market. So choose a niche that resonates with you and resonates to the market. Now, sometimes your niche that you want to do may not have a whole pool of market for that. And you may need to alternate to a different niche for you to bring the sustenance in. So bear in mind, you need to balance between the sustenance of your livelihood versus what you want as your passion. Because you see, many people are so passionate about a particular niche, but they're not willing to sacrifice for that passion. Remember, passion or passion, it's to be able to sacrifice for that thing. That what's the pain that you're willing to go through, or what is the suffering you're willing to go through for that price? Now, so again, I would say this balance between your sustenance, your livelihood, the niche, and your specialty. Sometimes you can do a combination of two. I may do one particular area, but I have my pet project. So that's for you to consider as well. Okay. Now, another thing that coaches always ask me, other than packages, how do I actually position them? Do I sell them in packages of 5, packages of 10? Well, I would say this, a rule of thumb is very simple, right? Think about the number of sessions you want to create for the clients. I typically sell them in 12 months period. That's my session, 12 months, right? Or 6 months, 12 or 6 months or 18 months. That's the kind of sessions I do with my clients. So you can think for yourself, maybe I want to do a 6 session over 6 weeks, or I want to do 12 sessions over 6 weeks. And how many times per week you want to do for your clients? Again, there's no right, no wrong. Try this out with your local audience, see what resonates with them before trying to move across the region and then going global. Always secure your local foothold first before going global. That will be so you're able to test the market, you're able to know and have market testing and understanding in terms of how they respond to the way you have designed the program. Get some testimonials in, because when you acquire new clients, they want to know, what's it like working with you. They want to know. So for example, when people want to know what's it like working with me, they can watch my YouTube videos, they can go to my LinkedIn profile, they can read up reviews about me, and before even talking to me. So I'm often surprised when people find me on Instagram, when people chat with me on phone, they will ask me questions, and they already know me because of the videos that I have, or they like what they're seeing on these videos as well. So they have this studio trust with me already. So think about this. What do you want to be known for? Because that's the area of niche you're going to go into, and how you're going to create the experience for the client. That's going to be very, very important. Now, another area that many people ask me as well, what's the payment terms like? Do I get them to pay in upfront, or do I get them to pay in installments? Well, I would say this. It really, again, it depends on the client that you're serving. I usually like to get the clients to pay upfront, so that we don't have to worry about the nitty-gritties. You can imagine this. If every single session I got to remind you, hey, have you paid up? Have you paid up? Our sessions will get influenced by the money. So in my approach, sometimes I'll always ask the client to make full payment upfront first, so that we don't have to worry about the money. We will just focus on the coaching process. That's all we do. Focus on the coaching process. Now, again, we know that some clients, they want to work with you, but they have no ability to pay upfront first. So you can break down in installments for them. Now, that's what you're going to do. So when you break down installments for them, do an installment package that finishes before your sessions end. So if you have a 10-session package with them, maybe you do a 3 to 4 installment package, so that they finish the installment before they end. Never stretch the installment beyond. Once you finish, you still stretch the installment, because it's like you finish the service, but the client's still paying. Now, that's one approach. There could be another approach. One of the things I also like to do is what we call an exchange. So I don't charge the clients upfront, but what I do is that based on the results and performance that they're achieving in their business, they give me a percentage of the shares, or a percentage of the profits, or percentage of the revenue, or percentage of something, right? So we share the rewards at the end. So depending on how you want to design your coaching package, you can share the rewards up front, or share the rewards at the end, or create a way of payment terms in the start. Or you may have a card installment package for your clients, and you can get them to charge on installment basis. Now, again, do something that makes sense for you. Okay, because setting up some of these fees practically may cost you money when you need to set up installment packages. And sometimes the easiest way is to do a bank transfer to your account, which makes it much easier. So that's why one of the challenge I say, book with your local market first before going international. When we go international, there's a lot of issues in terms of currency handling, in terms of card payments, and all the other stuff as well. Remember, you still need to make it legal within the context of your own organization and your own coaching practice. So there you have some strategies for you to think about as you begin your coaching practice. Now, if you like what you see here and you want to find out more, because in the subsequent videos, I'm going to create more in-depth videos about building your business, going deeper into the niche. Now, if you have specific questions, do leave them in the comment section below so I can read them and I can answer them as well. And perhaps I'll create more videos, in-depth videos. So if you like what you see, leave a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell and share this with a friend. So until next time, this is Jedi here at Coaching Changes Lives, and I'll see you in our next video.